Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us kind of silly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you could find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts, and of course our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to this show, our other shows like the Multiverse Fancast and Cinematic Adventures, as well as news, reviews, articles, and of course our merchandise store. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and with me today in the studio and over the via the Zoom studio, because that's how podcasts do it now. In the studio, we have Melanie. Melanie, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to be here.
Your triumphant return to the microphone?
Yes, my once every
8 years.
Once a quarter.
Once a quarter.
Basically. At this
The
point,
quarterly
yeah.
appearance of the famous producer, Melanie, who is... Yeah. She's mentioned in every podcast in some capacity.
This is true.
But finally making her triumphant return. And speaking of returns, we have one of the most interesting interviews that we ever did, something that I still talk about. And it's very rare. Like sometimes I'll do an interview and I won't talk to that person ever again. Like occasional like Facebook posts and stuff like that. But this gentleman, not only did we still keep in touch afterwards, but there was an experience that Melanie had that really inspired me to be like, I need to reach out. And we need to get another interview set up on the books. And that's with Mr. Daniel Jackson, the spirit medium himself. Daniel, how are you today?
I'm good. How about you guys? Yay, yay. Yeah.
Really good.
Gentlemen, I don't know about that, but okay.
Gentleman's a very strong word that we do not throw
Yeah,
around.
I'll give it my best shot.
Affirm.
No promises, yeah.
But for those of you guys who don't remember, Daniel came onto the show probably about a year ago now.
Has it been that long?
It might have been, maybe
no,
less.
I don't think it's been that long.
It was last year. I know last year, but I think it was beginning of summer last year, maybe.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
So yeah. And I had a great time talking to Daniel. Like we talked for almost, I think we went about like 45 minutes to an hour, one of our longer interviews. Mm-hmm. And it was so just interesting, and it kept me just engaged the entire time. And I remember telling Melanie about it afterwards, and I still I spoke such high praise about it. So I'm really excited to have you back on, Daniel. So this is exciting for me and for Melanie, I think too.
Yeah, very exciting.
So for our listeners, so for our listeners who maybe, because we did get a nice influx of new listeners, we were Podbean's featured podcast of the month last month, which was really
Sweet.
Cool.
Very awesome.
For our new listeners, Daniel, tell our new listeners a little bit about yourself.
My name is Daniel Jackson, and as I make it easy to say for people to understand, I see dead people. But I don't just see dead people, I see dead everything. They're not really dead, it's just I see their energy now, what they are, what they have moved on to be. And I see souls, but I don't just see people. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish. I see everything, what we would consider other beings from other worlds, because I tell people, if you think this is the only place with people on it, you might want to think again. So yeah, I see everything, and I see it all the time. I mean, even just a couple of weeks ago, things just appear in front of me all the time. I woke up in bed, and I keep my room very dark, so I can see everything in front of me. And when I woke up, my whole room was completely lit up. And so when it's lit up like that, I know it's someone who has crossed over. But I started looking around the room, and I looked down on my bed, and I saw this big orange puffball of hair, no nose, no mouth, 2 eyes that were blue, and it was just looking around the room, and then it looked at me, and I went, hello, and it blinked its eyes at me. And it just sat there for like 5 minutes, and I was like, and that's the only thing I could equate it to, was look like a round puffball of orange hair. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's not, there's nothing that I could equate it to that was absolutely on this planet, that's for sure. And I still have no idea what it was or where it came from, but it was just sitting on my bed, and then all of a sudden it just gone.
See, that's terrifying. I would not want to wake up in the middle of the night. Especially because we have a cat, and that's all I can imagine is just our cat just sitting there with some sort of unknown being next to it.
Yeah, because the hair on it looked like fuzzy cat hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's even worse because we have an orange cat.
We have an orange cat.
Down here right
We
now.
have 4 orange cats, so I get it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh. They never stop talking.
We have 9 cats total.
Oh, wow.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's a lot
We
of
have
cat
to step up our
stuff to
game,
clean up.
obviously.
I talk to a lot of other people on this show that have cats, and it's always they have more cats than us, and that's my wife's first reaction. Not how did the interview go, or nope, it's how many cats do they have?
Yeah. And it's always more than us.
Yeah.
One's
We started out with 10. We made our way out here from Delaware, and we came out to Arizona, and then our oldest cat just didn't fare well with the trip, so he'd gotten very sick, and he just gave up, and he was gone in a few weeks. So, but now we have 9, but we're okay.
It's a shame though. But
yeah, this thing looked like a hairy ball, like a cat minus a tail and a body. It was just a big round ball. Strange. But I see strange stuff all the time, so it doesn't, like you said, oh my God, terrifying. But that's the least of the terrifying things that I have seen or have witnessed. I have seen some very unnerving things, but I don't worry about them because I know I'm protected, so they can't bother me or hurt me or anything. I can walk into any haunted house on the face of this earth and nothing can actually touch me, so I don't worry about it.
That's interesting. Have you ever actually gone to like a real haunted house like that?
I have been to to people's homes and picked up on things. Like I went to a guy's home. He wanted me to come check out his home. Now, you can't really clear out a home. So a lot of these mediums is, oh, I'm going to clear out your home and stuff. They're full of crap. Okay. Negative energies. You can't do that whole smudging thing. That's not going to make them go away. As long as you put the positive intent out there, the positive energy out there, that will make them go away. But see, they're in a realm where they no longer have a body anymore. They don't have lungs, they don't breathe, and they can't smell. So when you're burning that stuff, the only thing you're going to do is set off your fire alarms. That's it. You're not making these evil things go away. I mean, if that was the truth, then don't you think all the forest fires in the world would make everything go away? No, they haven't, because it just doesn't work that way. But I have been in a place where this guy wanted me to check out his home, and when I did, I was walking around. I closed my eyes, and I knew it had been a farm at that time. I said, it used to be a farm years ago. And he said, and he looked into the lore, and he said, yeah, it was a farm like 100 years ago. And I said, there's a guy here named John, and he's an old farmer. He looked like he was like 83 years old. That's what he told me. And I saw all these animals walking around. I mean, literally, I was with my eyes closed. I saw a raccoon run past my feet, but these are all dead, but they're still here. They're still what I refer to as earthbound. And but when I went upstairs, that's when crap got real. And then I saw this really negative energy there. And it said one word to me. It said food. And I told the guy, I said, it just said food. And he's like, what's that supposed to mean? I said, negative energy here. I said, it feeds off of that negative energy. Right down the street are 2 churches. You're going to find all kinds of negative energy in church because everybody there is trying to prove to each other, I'm a better Christian than you are. And when they're doing that, using their ego, it's all over the place. It's like a buffet for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard.
But they are everywhere. I mean, I had a really bad negative energy visit me this morning, so it's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
And you still wanted to come talk to us? We appreciate that.
Well, this is my life. I wake up every day, and when I'm in a dark room, I just, like I explained to people, it's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more just keep coming in. I can't make it go away. They just are, or they are. They just are, And in this earthbound realm, they are just everywhere. Because there's many people that cross over into the light, there's that many who don't. Right. So there's gazillions of them. They're just walking around. And some of them are just regular souls who did not want to cross over for one reason or another. But a lot of them are horrible, mean, horrible, nasty things. And they say things to me all the time. I mean, horrible things. I mean, they know I have guns in the house, and they tell me to pick up a gun and shoot myself.
Oh, God.
What do you do? I'm still here, aren't I?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't let it bother me. Because I'm protected. They can't touch me. And the reason I'm protected is because I'm protected by what we would refer to as archangels. They're not men with wings and shields and swords and all that stuff. And they're just a higher being of a higher consciousness. And they protect me from everything because I cross spirit over into the light. So, but the light is me.
Interesting.
That's a different story.
So one of the biggest reasons that we definitely wanted to get in touch with you is Melanie had an experience. Do you want to share that experience really quick?
Sure. So I won't go into my long history of feeling energies and things like that, or like
Yeah, but do you know why
potentially-
you're feeling them? Because I know why. But go ahead.
I don't, but I'd be interested
I'll
to hear.
clue you at the end. Go ahead.
Okay. So we were taking a train down into the city.
We were going to the wrestling show for Christmas.
It was the day after Christmas, and we were on the Metro North train station, or train going into the city, and I had my my headphones and my earbuds, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like looking out the window, and he's sitting across from me, and we're just kind of we're together, but we're separate, just kind of zoning out. And then all of a sudden I hear it sounded like a deep man's voice that just said, Melanie.
Yeah, his name's Thomas.
Thomas.
Do you even know a Thomas?
Not the.
He doesn't know him.
I don't.
Oh.
I don't think so. But it was just like a not a evil malicious, but like someone was trying to get my attention.
Oh, we got
And-
your attention, yeah.
Yeah, and I took my AirPod out, and I looked at Paul, and I said, "Did you say my name?" He said, "No." So I looked around behind me, and there was a woman and was it a kid?
Yeah,
Two girls sitting behind us. I was like, "Someone just said my name." And he goes, "I didn't hear anything." I said, "No, somebody said my name. I just heard it." And I told him how it sounded, and it was just like a deep voice that said Melanie very clearly. And I was just like, I was shaken a bit, but I wasn't scared, but it was just like, what was that? And I know it was
He's
something.
not a positive energy, I can tell you that.
He's not.
No,
That would
no.
make sense.
So this morning before I got on the program, when I was getting ready,
Mm-hmm.
I was told right away that you have this man who's following you around. His name is Thomas. I even wrote it on my phone. If you want to see the message, I put it on my phone. So just so I could remind myself. But yeah,
And I don't know this being.
I'd say 99% of the spirit that I see all day, I don't know either. They're just around.
Mm-hmm.
As the cat makes
As
his
the cat
appearance.
comes in. As the
Yeah.
cat comes in. He's protecting me. So
Actually, that's the truth. Energies don't like cats.
Mm-hmm. I've had many times where he'll sit around, and I grew up with cats. I have my other cat that's actually at my mom's house. He lives there, and we have Maze, our cat now, and he'll sit in random spots of the house, and he'll just kind of look at something, and sometimes he'll look into the corners, and sometimes I want to believe that it's something positive.
He just sees everything. The cats, animals see everything that I do.
Mm-hmm. So, it's what are you looking at? Like, what do you see? And sometimes, like, I'll see a shadow, and I'll go and look and think that it's the cat, and it's not, and nothing's there. So I'll see random shadows and things like that. So it's something I've always been kind of curious about. And my mom is very intuitive. She was always kind of dabbling in tarot cards when she was younger. Her and I talk about, astrology and things like that, and energies and all, and things of that nature. And I would consider myself more spiritual in that sense, but I'm still kind
But
of
you're more
trying to
than
figuring out. Yeah. I feel like there's so much more that I'm not tapping into.
Absolutely correct.
And I'm nervous because I don't want to do it the wrong way and
You want to do
potentially
it the right
welcome.
way. I'll tell you how to do it. But
Yeah, and I want to
you are
welcome.
you are a untrained medium. That's what you are. You better get used to it, because that's what you are.
I had
You
a
are.
feeling.
But the thing about you is you're what I call 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you're not completely in it yet, but you could be. And that's why you are have like this want to know about it, this fascination with it. The reason why you have that is because your soul is drawing you towards it, because it's trying to let you know this is what you are. And what I mean by this is what you are is everything that you have ever done in your lifetime. It's not who you are. You're this. Some of us are meant to be teachers. Others are meant to be students. You're meant to be a teacher. You just haven't moved forward with it yet. But moving forward with it is a big, big decision. You just have to be okay with it. And what I mean by big decision is you're going to have a sit down talk and talk to God truthfully. And you're either going to move forward with it or you're not. And he's going to know whether or not you actually mean it or not. That's what I had to do. But this is who you are. Everything else that's your life can still be part of your life. But it's not who you are. You're this. Because it comes through with your soul. That's who you're meant to be. You sometimes wake up with it in your past lives. Let me see, 28. So you've been here 28 times. You're on life number 28. You've had 27 other sets of moms and dads, brothers and sisters, dogs and cats. Oh, and here's the other one you don't need to talk about anymore, astrological signs, because that's horseshit. Because the very beginning calendar was 5 months long. So what did they have? 5 signs, and then it became 9 months. So they created 4 more.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became 10 months, which is they created 1 more, then 12, and they created 2 more. Astrology is this. You ready? Here's the big wow of astrology. Long time ago, they stood around some people and said, hey, they looked up in the sky and said, let's play connect the dots. Oh, look at that. It's a fish. Yeah, that's about all it's worth, because your body is born under the stars. Your soul is not. And your soul picks the body it's coming into, when it's coming into. So that's how I know astrology is horseshit. You've been here 28 times, meaning you've had 28 astrological signs. So which one are you, Melanie? None of them. Don't let a newspaper article look in the morning and go, this is my horoscope. Don't let that define who you are. You define who you are by the decisions you and the choices you make throughout your day. Don't let that bullshit. Don't pay attention to it. But what you truly are is a medium. You just haven't moved forward with it. That's all. That's why you're having all these instances. That's why you're seeing things and feeling things. That's why this man said something to you and you heard it and you were like, heard it? Because you didn't hear it in your ear. You could take your earbuds in or out. Doesn't make a difference. You hear it in your soul. Has nothing to do with your mind. Your mind doesn't do anything. Your brain doesn't do anything except make the little parts work. Everything that happens to you and you feel and all that, that's your soul. He communicated through to your soul because that's how they communicate. It's like telepathy. That's what we call it. But everyone has it, but not everyone can use it. You can. You just have to learn how to do it.
It's crazy because it sounded like he was right here. Like
he's right there.
Right next to my neck, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was a deep whisper.
Yeah, connected with you.
I even moved, like someone was right in my ear, whispering so loudly.
You like visibly,
yeah,
like even I saw like
was
you were like
jumping.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know if that's the first time that I've ever had that happen. There are a lot of instances that I don't remember, and I always like my memory is not the best. And that was the first time.
Well, when it happens to you all the time, these types of things happen to you. Or, I mean, like this one was what we would almost call a traumatic experience because it really got your attention.
Mm-hmm.
But other times you just comes in, comes out. I mean, like I said, I see 1,000 spirits every freaking day. And it's more than that. That's just how I describe it. But
yeah. But
can I remember every single one of them? No. It's just too much. But this woke you up.
It definitely did.
You know it's got to be something more, correct?
I do, and I don't know. There have
Look at
been
Paul
so many
sitting over
times.
there. He's like, "What the hell?"
I know. No, because he knows that I'll.
Oh, most intuitive,
Yeah, that's one of the first things that he'll always say when he's describing me. She's very intuitive because there have been so many times since we've been together where I'm like, something's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
I know something's
Always.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I just feel the energy, or it's I don't think I like that person. That person doesn't make me feel good, or
that part of you was actually another part of your mediumship. Called being clairvoyant.
Okay.
So if I start hiding cookies, you better not be figuring out where they all are. Yeah.
I will always find
them.
Something about the energy in the kitchen.
I know, but it's been really interesting, and
it's getting
and
like more potent too.
I definitely feel like it's getting
because
to be
it's
stronger.
becoming more potent because they want you to move forward with it. what you get now, the things that you get now, these feelings that you get now, if you were to actually move forward with it, this is only about a quarter of what you would actually get. I live my life by talking to them every day, but I get touched on my face for yes and no answers, and now they put thoughts into my mind. In the very beginning, when this came on for me, I was, getting a message here and there, and so it was about maybe in a scale of like percentage, it was like 5% of the time I would get a message. Now it's 85% of the time.
Wow.
So when I get things that just comes into my mind, and then I ask them, did you just say that? And then they touch me on my face for yes and no answers.
Wow.
And it started off with just 2 answers. And I think back when I was talking to you, Paul, it was like maybe 12 or 15 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's 40. It's 43 now.
Jeez.
I know the names of 43 archangels that are touching me. Well, 41 of them. The other 2 are, he's not an archangel, but pretty damn close, Jesus. And then the other one who I've only been touched by 5 times, and that's God. I've seen him 3 times as well. So, but, and I've spoken to him. He talks to me, but I mean, what do you talk to God about? I didn't ask him about the lottery numbers, that's for sure, because why bother? But
Right.
it's figuring it out. It's going to be the thing for you, but you have to decide if you want to move forward to figure it out. And if, as I do readings for people all the time, but a lot of people come to me, especially after they hear me on a podcast, and they say, oh, the things you talked about resonated with me, and there's something going on with me. And then as soon as I see their name on my computer saying they're getting a reading with me, it just starts coming in, and I say, yep, this person's got it. Okay, so I need to do the big talk with them. It's a different type of reading, and I talk to them about everything that takes place for you to move forward with this. I'll be brutally honest with you. My life's not easy. I mean, I get messages and stuff like that, and I'm able to help people and help them to move forward in their lives. But your life becomes very lonely sometimes. You stay away from people because I already know you have this already, but because they're touching me right now, you can't be around a whole groups of people because you pick up on their energy, and it's like walking into a smoky bar and you walk out and it's like all over you and you can't get it off.
Oh gosh, a 1,000%, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I just
Yeah,
need to be
and
alone.
You're gonna
after.
exclude yourself from a lot of people because you don't want to be around that all the time. So, but you're also have to be out there to help these people as well too. So, yeah, it's not very easy being this. I mean, this will completely change your life, but you have to be able to accept that if you're okay with it completely changing your life. But it's not easy. But yeah, we could talk about it after the show if you want to. But I can help you. But that's up to you. You got to decide if you want to move forward with it or not. Because I absolutely tell you right now, absolutely, if you don't think you can do it, don't. Because it ain't easy. I mean, people come up to you all the time and judge you all the time, and because of their religious background and what their upbringing and stuff like that. I mean, I was in the mall one time about 3-4 months ago doing readings, and I had this Amish woman come up to me, and I'm sitting there, and she walks up and she says, looking at the sign, she said, so you talk to spirit? I said, yes, I do. She said, you communicate with spirit? I said, yes, I do. And then she screamed out in the mall, you're speaking to the devil.
Oh, God.
No. Yeah. So, and I said, no, I'm not, because there's no such thing as a devil. There's no such place as hell. There's no such place as purgatory. There are negative energies, but there's no devil. There's nobody walking around with horns and a tail torturing them. Yes, there is. And the more that but the thing is you will learn to, I'm as calm as, and that just made her more angry.
Of course.
To the point where she was turning red and she had to turn around and walk away.
Yeah,
but you know what?
I just want the reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't give a shit. Because I don't. Because I don't need to be angry at someone else's anger. My bother. And you'll learn that as well. And when I would say it'll completely change you, it'll completely change you. You'll treat people differently. You'll look at people differently. You'll look at the world differently. It's like the Matrix. You're taking the red pill or the blue pill. And you could walk around blindly like everybody else, or you could wake up to this and go, world isn't what they make it out to be. And be a part of that change. But it's up to you.
Just don't get a new husband. Keep the husband.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's like, he's moderately handsome, but not bad.
Way out of my league.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
the husband and the cat.
That's okay, Paul.
husband
That's
and the
she's
cat.
out of my league too. So
The husband and the cat.
my wife is out of my league, but
It's a good
but I talk
mentality
to
to have.
God.
You gotta work extra
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So when you speak to somebody, or even if you're just kind of walking around, can you see who might be protecting them, or like a spirit guide, or something like that? Do you use that term, or is it just the archangels?
Yes, absolutely. Spirit guides are people who have crossed over into the light, who have fulfilled their purpose. People who fulfill their purpose can become spirit guides if they choose to. So most of the spirit guides that people have with them are just regular people, not always someone who is related to you, but we are all related to each other in a bigger sense because we all come from the same family, the soul family. That's where we come from.
Mhm.
We don't come from here. We come from there. We come here to learn things and fulfill a purpose. But everyone has spirit guides around them, no matter who it is. So that's why I always tell people, don't feel like you're ever alone in this world, because you're not. So, but you always have at least two with you. One's a man who helps you with more masculine type decisions, and one is a female. It's more like nurturing type decisions. So, and that's how I know there's only two genders. Okay. Because all other stuff is bullshit. So, and I see it. Yeah. It's, you can be a non-binary. That's their ego. That's what there is. That's all bullshit. I don't give a shit what they say. So, but yes, you always have these two around you all the time, and they're helping you with all your decisions. But we have thousands of decisions that go through our mind every single day. All kinds of thoughts go through, but we don't act on them all. So, but the problem that we have with that is the world has taught us to not have any trust or any faith within ourselves. So we talk ourselves in and out of things that are not what we're supposed to be doing. But when you do that, you're just going to end up on the alternative life, and you'll come back again. For sure, because the correct path is going to get you to fulfilling your purpose. Now, we fulfill some of our purpose throughout our lives, but not enough. It's not as much as God and archangels want us to do. So we just keep coming back over and over again. Because they know they can bring us back. No one lives to be 150 years old. Besides that, at that point, it's going to hurt to pee, and who wants to be here for that? So they know they can bring us back again. Sorry, Paul.
No,
They bring us back, and then you come into another body, but you're coming into each body differently because you're here to learn those lessons too, because the lessons you learned previously weren't hard enough, obviously, to have you stay home. The one thing the two of you have in common with the other 7.5 billion people in this world is they've all been to heaven. They all had to come back, just like you did, because you didn't get it done. That's all. You have to punch your own dance card. You have to stay on track so you can get it done. And fulfilling your purpose is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. You're fulfilling your purpose is you're here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not because you can, but because you should. So you're not here to just become a doctor or a lawyer. That's a occupational choice, But you may fulfill your purpose while doing that. But the one thing you're going to do is one thing you're going to be fulfilling your purpose is human. That's all. It's that simple. God made it that simple. But when somebody's out there going, "Oh, my purpose is going to be," no, that's their ego talking. No, they're full of shit. Yeah.
It's taken me a while to figure out everything, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm on live 28.
Oh, you're on number 12. Well, 28's not too bad. When I do readings for people and stuff, they're here between 26 and 29 times. But
All right, well, hopefully
I've done a woman who was here 43 times.
What was she
totally
doing
screwed it
wrong?
up.
Oh my God, what does she do in heaven?
Well,
I
she's not staying.
What she's not
here.
doing, yes. Okay.
That's what she's not doing.
She's
while
not doing
here.
correctly. Yeah, she's not staying. She actually she had to come back again. I told her in the nicest way possible. She asked me, she said, "Do I still have time to fulfill?" And I said, "No, you've run out of time." What would that sound like to you if I said you have run out of time?
That you better get it right this time.
No.
While you're here?
No, I told her she ran out of time, so she's not getting it done this time. She has to come back again.
So she has to come back. Oh.
Yeah, but what would that sound like to you if I said you run out of time?
That you're about to die.
Dying right now.
And she did 6 months later.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So here's the thing for you.
Wow.
Knowing those types of things, knowing that people are going to die, you're going to be okay with it because you're going to know all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And does that sitting on the outside of who you are, will that sit good with you? Because I know lots of things.
As of right now, no.
Right. But
But
being a
it's,
teacher and being a student, and I mean in a different sense for you too, because I'm not saying all mediums are teachers, because they're not. You're just different. You have different spirit guides with you, but they won't click in until you decide to move forward with it. And I mean big ones.
I'm like blown away.
I
I am actually speechless.
And we didn't even talk about the dream you had like a week later.
Yeah, let's hear about the dream.
Oh
Eddie.
man, yeah. So, oh no, it wasn't a week later. It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, a few weeks ago. So I have a great grandmother that had passed January 6th of 2021, and the last time I saw her in person was Christmas Eve. No, Christmas Eve or day?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. And it was right after dinner. We had, Paul and I were getting ready to leave for the evening, and I went downstairs to go see her, and she was very bloated. She was 94 years old at the time, and her body was just so bloated and filled with water, and you could see it coming out of her pores on her legs and her feet. And I said, Gran, what, we got to get you to the hospital or something. We got to handle this. And she kept apparently saying no to everybody else, but she told me, she said, oh, all right, we'll see. The next day she went into the hospital. They were able to, she said, I think I need to go to the hospital. They took her to the hospital. I'm sorry?
Did she wear glasses?
She did, yeah. She did.
Yeah. She's here. Go ahead.
And I talked her into, going to the hospital. They had an ambulance come. They took her, and she was in the hospital for about a week or so, and she had passed at the hospital. But when I saw her Christmas Eve or Christmas Day that evening, I came upstairs and I just felt this crazy feeling all over my body. And I knew that was the last time that I would see her on this earth. That was the last time. And I just started crying, and I was hysterical crying. And then my mom, was trying to console me, and she started crying. My aunt started crying. And I just said, I know that's the last time I'm going to see her. I know this is the last time I'm going to see her. And I just couldn't process what was happening with my body and the feeling. And, the whole ride home I was crying, and Paul was trying to console me. And I couldn't let it go. And then the next day she went to the hospital. Like I said, we were going away. We had planned a vacation for that week. So we were upstate, and I called her in the hospital, and we had a really funny conversation. The next time I called her, she was more quiet and, a little bit more reserved. And I knew that it was coming soon. And then
she was being talked to.
Yeah.
They were talking to her, letting her know that she was getting ready to go, and that's why her whole demeanor changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knew it.
She's
still here.
I was at work when she passed. It was around 3:00, and I just started talking about her.
But I mean, people want to say, "Oh, I wish I could be there for." You didn't need to be there. She knows of where you were in your existence, and also she was in a transformation state where she was going from here to there. So she knew you loved her and cared about her, and so. But she's actually still here, though.
Yeah,
she crossed over and went to heaven. She came back. She's one of your spirit guides.
Wow,
but just for you, not anybody else in your family.
Really?
Correct.
That. See, now it makes sense.
Her skin was kind of shiny looking.
Yeah.
Curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's right in front of me. See her.
Yeah.
That's why I had my eyes closed. Glasses.
Yeah, soft curls.
Still here.
Wearing her favorite slippers and her sweater.
Well, they can manipulate, because they're pure energy now. They can manipulate themselves to look like, but she's showing a younger self to me. But when they cross over at the age, if you die over the age of 30 years old, when you if you cross over into the light, you'll go back to a feeling of what it was like to be when you were like 30 years old.
See, I knew it.
If you die under the age of 30 years old, you actually grow up in heaven. But
oh wow, okay.
But when you cross over into the light, I mean, if you had to come back again and still complete that purpose, then you would come back 80 years later.
Wow.
The reason being is so you won't be recognized.
So now, if he... I think he's going to sneeze. So the cat caught a bug. That's why.
Cool.
Always on duty. Always on duty. So
I was going to say, God bless you. You know where that term came from?
I don't.
Back in the times when Jesus was here, when people would walk around and they would sneeze, they would believe that demons were exiting your body. So they would say, God bless you, so to make sure no more demons would go back in your body. But you know what the problem was? Everybody continued to sneeze.
Yeah.
Because it's bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, man.
A lot of it's bullshit.
Yeah, well, people make up things to make themselves comfortable. They
Also,
don't.
nobody knows what to say when somebody sneezes then. If you get really
So was your grandmother in your dream?
Yes. So I had this big. I had this dream about my family. We were traveling somewhere. Paul was there as well, and we went through some sort of security TSA type airport thing, and we crossed into the other side where it's the stores, and we're buying food and snacks and everything like that.
Duty free.
Yes, and my great grandma was there with my grandpa and my grandma, and he was kind of he told my grandma to go and go shopping. I'll stay with the old lady, which is what he would call my great grandma. He calls my grandma that too, lovingly, of course. And he's following her, and then all of a sudden she turns to us. We all come back together, and she turns to us and she goes, "It's time." And we all start crying. We know exactly what it means. It's time for her to go. And all of a sudden these big gates open, and I tell her, I'm not ready to, I'm not ready for you to go. I'm not ready to let go. And I hug her, and I could feel the hug like it was in a real life hug. And a lot of my dreams, also just a little side note, a lot of my dreams, when they have certain aspects to it, I can feel it as if it's really happening, and I feel like I'm actually there. It's not, and I see my dreams with a lot of color sometimes, a lot of like random details I'll remember when I wake up too. But I was hugging her, and I said, I'm not ready. And then she goes to pull away. I said, no, hug me longer. And then my grandma comes over, and we have to kind of scoot her into this gate because she's too fragile to stand up, and we can't walk her over. So we slid her across the floor, which sounds terrible saying it out loud. We slid her in, and then she transformed into a cat. And then the cat ascended into the heavens, or, into the sky at that point. But when we were talking in the dream, my grandma said it makes sense that it's today. And it was, I think, January 9th. And my great grandma says, yes, it's, it's the 9th. It's the birth of, hold on. I wrote it down.
You wrote it down.
Got it written down?
Yes, I wrote it down. It's easier to do it this way because I want to make sure I say it verbatim.
She read this to me the next day too.
I did.
Yeah. This was
I did. So my grandma comes over and says it's his birthday, the 9th, so it makes sense. And I said, what are you talking about? And then my great grandma said the babies. Ross was born, but she didn't live long past a few days because she was born too early. The other twin died early in the womb.
Correct.
And then that's when my grandma came, and I moved my great grandma over into the gates. So when I had told my grandma about this, I said I had a dream about Granny, and she said, okay, and she always gets excited anytime I share with her something that I felt that's related to, her mom, and it kind of brings us together. My grandma is fascinated with everything spiritual, paranormal. She's reading a book about ghosts in Manhattan right now, and Hollywood, hauntings and things of that nature. But I told her about this, and I said, Nanny, did Granny have a miscarriage? And she said she did. And I said, was it before you? Was it twins? And she said it was before me, but we don't know if it was twins. We think it was a boy because she was told she couldn't carry boys, and then she had me and my sister.
It was a boy. And the reason for miscarriages, or what we would call a stillborn baby, is because when the soul comes in, it sees the body's not going to make it, and it leaves.
Wow.
That's it. I mean, I people, when I talk about that, people get all like, I'm not saying that the baby doesn't have a soul. It's just without the soul, the body cannot be alive. It's like a battery in a radio. Without the battery, the radio does not turn on. Or the electricity of it does not turn it on. So the electricity of your body, the people who I'm talking to right now, I'm talking to your soul. I'm not talking to your body. Your body is just a vessel. That's it. In order for your soul to be here, that is it. And we place too much value on the body. So, but yeah, it's the soul. So, and when the soul comes in, because the soul is not sitting in your womb, your soul comes in right in, and then it sees the body and goes, "This is not working out so well. Got to go," and back out, and then that's it.
Wow.
So it's just not meant to be here.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. But we place too much value. Oh, we got to bury that. No, you don't. That has it's a shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're the passenger. The soul is the passenger. Your body is the car. That's it. It's the only way the soul can move around in this world is being in this meat suit.
Mm-hmm.
When your grandmother was there in the dream, she's standing right next to you wherever you were when you were sleeping. So if that happens again, if you actually want to see her again in person, wake yourself up. She's standing right next to you.
Wow.
But she connected to you for the other reason, because of you being who you are. Because they know. Just want to show you something.
Sure.
8:24 this morning. Paul's spirit, Thomas.
Oh.
So
That's
that's
when I got the message this morning. When I about the show, I was told about the show, but that's the guy who's following you around.
Is
Paul-
he bigger than me?
So the guy that's following me around is Thomas?
Yes, I thought of your show this morning when I was getting ready, and I was told the man that's following you around, his name is Thomas.
And I did not tell.
And he's not a negative.
I did not tell Daniel anything about it. I just said that you had an experience, and that was it.
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember.
So.
But the last time you and I talked, when we were texting back and forth, I said to you, what are we going to talk about? The man that's in your house?
See, I knew it.
I knew you knew it.
I knew it. Oh.
See, he's not really in your house. He's just around you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, a spirit don't walk through walls.
Mm-hmm.
Those walls don't, the physical things don't mean anything. They're just walking. But they're around us. The reason they're around you, the reason you're having all these things happen is because your soul is just a little bit brighter than everyone else's.
Yeah, it is.
And they are attracted to that like a moth to a flame. And they know when they see that, when they see 1,000 of us standing around and they see one that's brighter, they go over to that one because they know that one can communicate.
So how do I find out what he wants, and if he's a negative,
when you were
spirit?
a child and you were hungry and you were standing next to your mother, what did you do? Did you just stand there and wait for her to feed you, or did you say, "Hey, Mom"?
Yeah,
you talk to your mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to him. It's that fucking simple. It just is. But it's that simple for you because what people don't realize, again, you have this brighter soul. It can talk to you. You can talk back. And he'll answer you back if he chooses to. But if he made that kind of contact with you to say out your name, he wants to talk. So talk. Ask him, what do you want? What do you want from me, Thomas? He knows that I'm talking to you right now. He knows that I told you his name.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you know that, go into a dark room and say, what do you want from me, Thomas? Close your eyes. I bet you see him. And I'm not kidding.
Wow.
But you could move forward more than that. You could do what I do, which, you could do readings for people. You could help people. You could get more. Like I said, you're only getting a quarter of it, but you could get more. But it's up to you. You got to make a big decision. You got to decide if you're going to do it or not. But if you, like I said, if you want to do it, it's. I get to talk to people every single day and help them. I get to talk to archangels. I'm in communication with them all the time. Okay. Now, I don't know if it's going to work like that for you, but that's how it works for me. But I don't take that for granted. I see them. I see what they look like. They don't look like men with wings. They're not. When I see them in my bedroom, it's like looking at 8-foot praying mantises walking around my room. That's what they are.
Wow.
But they help me to help other people, and they help me at the same time. When I ask questions throughout my day, I'm asking mostly about me, and so I will wake up and say, should I take this? I was in the kitchen this morning, so I'm diabetic. I have to take a bunch of medication, but like today, I wasn't feeling good. why I was up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And I said to them, should I take all my medicine today? And it's messing with my stomach again. Yeah. How about take my aspirin? Yeah. Take my insulin. Yeah. That's what I did. I follow what they tell me to do. I live my life by them. If I'm driving down the street on my motorcycle and I say, oh, I'm going to take this right-hand turn. No. Should I make the next right-hand turn? Yeah. You know what was going to happen me at the other one? I don't give a shit. I know that they're looking out for my best interest, and they're going to help me throughout my life.
Wow.
And they told me almost 4 years ago that I would never get into another car accident again if I pay attention and listen and follow through what they tell me to do. And I haven't. You could do that too. But it's a different life. Because I'll say it as plain as anything. I work for God. I'm not religious because God is not religious. Neither is Jesus. They just indoctrinated them into their ideology so they could have power and control over people. I'm not about that. You know, they say God he's a merciful God and he's a fearful God. Which is he? Neither. He's a loving God. That's what he is. Because he's your father. But you could listen to them. You could follow through. And you could live a completely great life without all the other bullshit. And along the way, help other people because that's what you're here to do. And if you do that, I guarantee you'll get that purpose done. And you'll bring him along with you. Paul.
We'll get to work. Bring me along. Come on.
Get to work, he
God,
says.
get to work. Lazy.
Get to work, woman.
Start seeing ghosts.
Crack that whip, Paul.
You have more lives than I do.
Probably.
Right now. You got more left.
Probably do.
Well, he has to be in this with you as well. So, like, my wife is in this with me. She's a really strong empath as well. But then she sees and hears some things too. But she doesn't get what I get because, you know, I'm the Word of God. So, but she does say to me sometimes, "Hey, Word of God, it's time to go empty the dishwasher." So, you know, I'm still a person, you know. But
there you go.
But you have to be with someone who's very supportive of what you do because, I mean, she knows. You know, most of the people I talk to, 98% of them are women. So she used to bug me all the time. How come you got all these good-looking women coming to see? I said, it's not me that's coming to see. But she was just joking. But yeah, but the thing about it is one thing you have to understand is you can't help everybody. You can try, but you can't help everybody. As I always say to everyone, people come to me for answers from God. And I get the answer. But they don't always like it because they don't like the truth.
You okay? You good?
And they will stand up and be pissed off about that too. Had a woman who I did a reading with. I was doing a book signing a couple of weeks ago, and she sat down and was all like, as soon as she sat down, I was like, whoa. And she's like, what? I said, man, there's a dark energy, there's a red energy around you. You have negativity around you. And she says, what do you mean by that? And she says, I help people all the time. I'm in the theater and stuff like that. I said, yeah, you might help people in the theater, but outside the theater, you're not very nice to people. You're kind of snooty. You walk around with your nose up in your air and you talk down to people and stuff like, oh, no, I do not. No, you don't want you talking about. I said, you're doing exactly right now what I'm talking about. And she got up and I said, well, have a great day, but that's what's going on with you.
Yep.
Right there. And so, yeah. And was I nerved about it? But, you know, then I just, you know, let it go. And that's what you have to be able to do. You can't engage with people. You can't get into arguments and all that stuff because, but let me see. Oh, yeah, you're not one for that anyway. So
to get caught up in stuff?
You're already one up on the game.
I have moments. That actually was one of the things that I wanted to start working on. I mean, I've been working on it for about 1.5 years, but that's the one phrase that I keep hearing. Yeah, I that's the one phrase that I keep hearing is you just got to let it go.
Yes.
And that
let that shit go because it's not important.
Yeah, this month alone.
People want to get a reaction out of you. Yeah. That's what they want to do. Mm-hmm. You just being spiritual, you don't have to afford them that. You can just walk away. You know, all the negative people in your life, you can. Mm-hmm. They're in your life because you choose to have them in there because you allow them to be in your life. You could just turn around and say, you know, oh, that's that person again. They're a piece of shit. Oh well, I'll click. Get rid of them.
You already have your list of people on that one.
Oh, I already know.
Yep, you have your list.
Do you have my friend calls it a stab list. People that, she wish she could stab, but she can't, because it's illegal.
I feel like everybody has some sort of list like that. But
Yeah.
I just, like, I don't care to be around them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what I do? I don't have a list. I just get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to keep staring at something that's going to remind me of this person's a piece of crap. I get rid of that piece of crap person. I
Mhm.
don't allow them in my life. I don't make contact with them whatsoever.
Oh,
I had to let my sister go like 6 months ago because I got tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, there's nothing in a rule book that says you have to talk to them because you just don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And being this, you can't. Because like I said, you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to be all the way in. And in order to tell people, in order to get answers for people to help them move forward in their lives, you can't be that. You got to be living exactly what you're telling them to do.
Hmm.
And for some people to change to that is hard. Because, what's that song out used to be out I think in the 90s? I'm only happy when it rains. Yeah. There's the people who love drama, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know a few.
People who
Oh, yeah.
they can't live without it.
Mhm.
You have to live without it.
Well, I guess if there's a part 3 at some point, we'll know exactly
Yeah.
what
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
Third episode with Daniel.
Is there any other questions you guys wanted to ask, like regular spirit questions or
Yeah,
anything like that?
Any regular spirit questions? I already talked to him for an hour, so.
I know it's funny. The cat's coming back now.
Well, it's even funnier because for me and Melanie is very empathetic. She feels things. I have a terrible fear of dying, like a terrible fear of what
It's going to
happens.
happen like this, Paul. Ready? You're gone.
I know,
Mhm.
but for me, it's always been that question of what happens after, and that was one of the biggest things that attracted me to doing our first interview was because that's something that I have a curiosity about. And
Yeah, it's not a matter of if; it's just a matter of when. It's
Right.
just there's 2 rules in this world. As long as we comprehend the rules and we follow these rules, you're going to appreciate your life and Melanie's life and everyone else's life around you a little bit more. Rule number 1 is people die every day, and rule number 2 is you can't change rule number 1. When it's your time to go, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
whatever
So
you're
I don't
saying
care
is,
what kind of vaccine you take or anything like that.
Well,
Everyone's going to die.
well,
Yeah.
whatever you're saying
But
is
the-
totally resonating because our cat just joined us on the podcast table, so he might make a
Yeah,
rare
he
appearance.
sat in the chair and was looking at the mic like he wanted to share his thoughts
Like
on
he had
this
something to
too.
say.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. I can. So like some of the things that I can do that like I do something when I do more readings in front of me. I do a lot of Zoom stuff now, but
Mhm.
I do something called a soul alignment. So I can actually look inside of a person, see their soul inside of them. So I could actually look in your cat and see what kind of cat he was before, because people say, oh, when I die, I want to come back I'm going to come back as a cat, or I'm going to be an eagle or something like that. And
Mhm.
no, it doesn't happen that way.
Oh.
People come back as people, dogs come back as dogs. But in turn, the same way that when you get to heaven, or if you choose to go to heaven, a cow is not going to walk up to you and be angry because you had a cheeseburger. So they know that they understand the circle of life and everything. But
Mhm.
yeah, when you the way that it's going to happen for both of you is you're gonna fall asleep, as everyone does, and you're gonna wake up and stand up and look down at your body and go, I guess I don't need that anymore. And then you're going to take a step to the left. You're going to look to the right, and a light's going to turn on for you, and that's your personal light. Everyone gets one, and it's your choice to either walk in or not. And a lot of them, again, they don't walk in; they just stay here, or they're just lost, or someone told them they were a piece of crap or something like that. They don't feel like they're
Mhm.
worthy to do it, something like that. But that's my job to thrust them over and help them out. But you'll walk in, and then you'll go to a holding place. No one goes to heaven right away, and they're going to go over your life with you, and it's like a life review, and there's not judgment. God doesn't judge us. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he need to do it once more? Because he just doesn't, because he's not into that crap. So it's people who judge each other. Those are the crappy ones. So then they go over your life with you, and they let you know what you did and did not do, and then that's where you'll find out if you have fulfilled your purpose or not. And if you have, then you get to stay home. If you haven't, but at that point, you're back to being a white light loving soul again. You've gotten rid of all your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, and anguish, and all that stuff, because the willingness to want to walk in washes you away of all that stuff. So, and then you're just like, oh, you got to go back again. Yeah, no big deal. Okay, cool. I get to go back and do a lot of earthly stuff, and And yeah, but I mean, but you don't always know the life you're walking into. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can see it from that vantage point. You know, you can see what's going on down here at that time, but it's not really down. It's like right next to us. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be harder lessons to learn because obviously the less lessons you learned and the last purpose wasn't enough. So you had to go back and do it again. But it's no big deal. You'll come back 80 years or at least 80 years and then maybe a little bit more. That's why I tell people don't mess with 23andMe and Ancestry.com because the person you're looking for 100 years ago looks similar to you was you. So don't worry about that. Oh, maybe I'm from Ireland or maybe I was related, maybe I'm royalty. And I always tell people when they say that, I say, oh, you want to be royal? Oh, you want to be a king and queen? You know, people who stepped on other people's backs and murdered them and doing all that stuff. That's what you want to relate yourself to? Oh, I don't think of it that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit. So why would you want to be? Yeah, but oh, maybe I'm from China. Maybe I'm from Africa. Maybe you know what? You've been here 28 times. You're from all over the freaking world. Who cares? You're one thing. You're human.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you are. And what you did in your previous lives,
Karen.
it was important, but it wasn't that important because if it was so important, you wouldn't be here again.
You want
So
to
don't
talk about
bother
Karen?
with the past life stuff.
You want to mention
Yeah.
Karen?
Yeah, we should mention.
All right,
Karen.
so last thing, because we are running a little low on time, but we had another story from one of our adventures. I'll let Melanie tell it. Go ahead.
I love
Oh,
stories.
Yeah, no, go.
Oh, okay. The cat caught another bug. Look at that.
This is not really the story.
Yeah, our basement typically doesn't.
Doing
have-
their job.
Stop trying to eat it. You're gonna have to edit this out.
Why
you're
wouldn't
not
they make
editing?
cat food that's like,
Okay.
they should make cat food that's like cricket flavor or something like that? You
Yeah,
know?
I know, right? Oh my gosh. So we were on our delayed honeymoon because, you know, thanks COVID. We went to Jamaica and we're sitting on the beach and we're, you know, just relaxing. This woman comes over and says, is this chair taken? We don't know. So we end up talking and it's like, 10 in the morning. We all have drinks in our hands, you know, all inclusive, typical stuff.
It's awesome.
And we start talking about past lives. And she tells me that, you know, there's this author, Brian Weiss,
Something like that.
if I believe that's his name. But she tells me all about this gentleman, and she met with him and had him kind of look at her past lives. And she tells me that her current marriage, she said, I married my husband 3 times, and you know, we have kids and this and that, but we're not together now. And she said this gentleman told her that in a past life her husband was her brother.
Yeah, sometimes.
And I said, oh.
Yeah, we sometimes reverse roles. Sometimes your mom is the daughter and you're the mom, or you're both sisters or something like that,
Yeah. So
or brothers, or yeah, because you don't always come back as a female. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you come back as a male.
Yep. So she told me about her experience, and you know, of course, I love books, and the cat's still freaking out. I love books, so of course I come home and I find a book and I start reading it. And his first experience with someone who, you know, he put her under some sort of hypnosis, and she was able to kind of walk through her past life and or past lives, and she was able to, you know, describe in vivid detail what she was wearing, what she looked like, what her name was, and then could fast forward to the moment that she left this earth, her death, whatever it was. And, you know, she was a male, she was a female, she was Swedish in one, she was a Native American in another one, in another life. And there were all these different types.
Correct. So like I said, they're
lives,
from all over
which
the
is-
world.
Yeah, which was incredible. And she said in one of her lives, her niece was her sister or her daughter in
Something
one of
like
her
that.
lives.
Yeah, we
something
always
like
come
that.
back into the same family circle all the time.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's pretty
sometimes
cool.
you come back, like I said, sometimes you come back as the mom, the dad, the brother,
Mhm.
the sister. You come back, but you always come back into the same family circle. But in all actuality, the truth of everything, we're all related to each other.
Mhm. So if we had
It's like you and Paul. You guys have been together 8 times, and 2 of those times you were his husband.
Hey, easy. Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, so he was the wife twice. Yeah, but you've been together 8 times.
get to work,
Been together 8 times? Get
to work. Yeah.
Well done. Well played. Well done.
Oh,
Crack
wow,
that
that's-
whip, Melanie.
Yeah, there
Right?
it is. There it is.
Oh my goodness, that's so.
You don't have to
that's
crack
so
that whip.
awesome.
He worships the
No, he's wonderful. He really is.
water. He worships the water you walk on to him.
Mm-hmm. And that's why when we're in Jamaica on our honeymoon and we're drunk at 10 a.m. and you're having a 4-hour conversation with this random woman.
We talked for hours.
She gave you her number.
Yep. And
she wanted to have drinks.
We kept seeing her. I mean, it's a resort, so you're going to run into the same people. But we kept seeing her, and it was 2 days before we were leaving, really or the day before we were leaving, and.
I'd like to give you my number so we could have drinks. Get lost, Paul.
Yeah, heck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't have tattoos.
It could be water. That's fine. It could be juice.
Awesome.
She's more for the conversation anyway.
I don't need to have drinks to have a conversation with anyone.
No, neither do I.
You're very shy. It's weird.
So weird. So shy.
Yeah.
But this came out. This conversation between you and her, the two of you and this woman came out like it was nothing, right?
Yeah. We talked the entire time, and we both felt bad because it's like, Paul, you're just sitting here eating your pizza, and Paul, you're just sitting there. But every time this woman came up, she would have to touch me, and she just needed to have some sort of physical contact. Even with Paul, she was, touching his arm, and he's like, "Why is this woman touching me all the time?" Making
a soul connection. It is when you hug somebody, and there's certain people that you could just hug, but the other people you walk up and you don't want to let go of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's your soul connecting with each other. It's an energy. Energy is coming together, and it's just it's energetic connection, and you don't want to let go because you don't want to let go.
Yeah, it's really like an incredible feeling. He has a Viking tattoo, and that was one of the things that she had. She kept touching it, and she had lost her son fairly recently.
Yeah, it was like surprisingly recently
and,
for her to be on an all-inclusive vacation.
Yeah, and she just kept touching it, and she said, "Oh my, my son, and I know he's here. This is a sign." And it was just one of those things. I know he was very uncomfortable, but it was really cool to me because this was the first time that I actually had a very long conversation with anyone, let alone a stranger, about something like this and past lives. And it was a really cool experience.
We ones with the brighter souls are attracted, connected to others, and we just some people just walk up to you and start talking to you because they are attracted to the energy.
That makes sense.
It's going to happen for you. I mean, it's going to happen for you more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to happen for you more now, especially because they want you to move forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is for you is, you go to shit or get off the pot?
Yeah, crack that whip.
Get to it.
Paul just made the sound of that whip again.
Get to work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll say it to you this way.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't want it to go away.
I don't.
It's part of you. It's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make a decision if this is what you want to do. It's not easy, but it makes life simpler.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to decide if you're going to move forward with it or not.
Probably not.
You could absolutely do this. 100%. You could absolutely do this. But you'll be a different person. People will treat you differently. It's like coming out of the closet. Because now you're going to say to everybody, this is who I am. This is what I am. And now they will look at you differently.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to handle that. You get naysayers all the time, but telling you to go play with your Ouija board or you're a witch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ouija boards have been banned in this house, actually.
Yeah, I don't touch those.
Too many movies.
No, don't touch them. They were created for evil.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, because when you open that door, you don't know what you're opening that door to, and everything that's standing on the other side of that door is waiting to come in, waiting for someone to open that door. So.
And it won't be me.
No.
They're banned in the house somewhere.
And the thing about that is, if you had it in your house, people don't know this. If you had it in your house and it was your Ouija board, whatever came through is going to stick with you, not everybody else. You, because it was yours.
Ugh. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Start sending gifts to our enemies.
No way. No way.
Yeah, burn that thing. Get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Give it to your enemies.
We don't have established. We have a Ouija board list. We're just going to start sending Ouija boards
to the
people
list.
we
That's
don't
funny.
like.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we are out of time. And before we do, Daniel, you have a book.
I do have a book.
Yes, please tell our listeners if they
Right,
want to.
man. It's right behind me. It's right there. It's Daniel Jackson, A New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. And it's a chronological story about how everything has happened to me and for me, the reasons why it happened to me. for me. And it's a good book. It's a good story. It's the third book I've ever read my entire life. So I don't read books because my wife does that. I wait for the movie to come out, but this is not going to come out as a movie because that's not the point of it. I'm not trying to be rich and famous like that. I would like to be famous, but only for the reason because I want to be able to help people, not to make millions of dollars. But the end of the book is the most important part, and that's I was given 25 channeled messages from my spirit guides, archangels, from God, essentially, to what he wants us to do, how he wants us to be, how he wants us to treat other people. And hopefully we can implement these into our lives, and then we can help other people implement these into their lives in turn. When we're helping them to do that, we're helping ourselves as well. And then hopefully fulfilling the purpose. So the ultimate goal is to do that so we can go home and not have to come back again because he wants us to do that. But and that sells on Amazon. You just punch in Daniel Jackson, A New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. You'll see that picture come up of a man who's walking into a bright white light. And it's $8. And if you get the Kindle version, it's $6.49. So, and I made it $8 for one reason. Again, I make $2.49 off of each book I sell. I would love to sell 1 million books, but I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just trying to help 1 million people. That's all.
That's awesome. And when we release this episode, we'll make sure that we link the Amazon to it. So that way people, if they want to grab the book right through us, they can do it that way too.
Which they should.
Sweet. Yeah.
It's $8.
Awesome. I see this right here. Does not mean the devil. No such thing as a devil. So, yeah.
But that's going to wrap us up for today. Daniel, thank you so much for jumping in. And this was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it.
Well, me too, yeah. And as I always tell everybody, be good and don't do any stupid shit.
All right. That's going to be a t-shirt. I'm going to make that into a t-shirt.
I know, right?
All right. Thank you, Daniel.